From Citizen TV, this is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
That's right, just in time for the Monday Report. Thank you so much for tuning in to Citizen TV. We are speaking about a time when the lecturers today were on strike. They were tear gassed, more than 20 of them arrested and then later on released, coming on at a time when students have also threatened to go on strike. So let's handle one problem at a time. The lecturers are on strike. Why? What are they agitating for? This is the conversation we'll be having with Professor Kamau Ngamau. He's the VC Cooperative University and the alternate spokesperson IPUCCF-JNC. IPUCCF stands for Interpublic Universities Council Consultative Forum. Speak to him about that conversation in just a bit. Dr. Maloba Wekesa is the WASU Chapter Secretary at the University of Nairobi. We've just received apologies from Dr. Charles Mukwaya, Secretary General KUSU. They are currently held up in a meeting right now with the government to try and resolve the stalemate. So that's a conversation we'll be having with the two of them on what will it take to restore normalcy in universities. That's a conversation you don't want to miss. At Trevor Ombija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Monday Report. But first, our top stories tonight.
It's a national important here. Supply information, wait for the information. If you don't need it, Kenyans need it.
If the CS is tired of answering questions by the representatives of the people, let him tell us. Let him tell us. He can walk out and come back on a day that he feels his temperament is something that is befitting of a cabinet secretary of the Republic of Kenya.
More revelations on Adani JKIA takeover. Treasury CS clashes with Sifuna and Onyonka after they confronted him with offers from 3 farms which government ignored.
Hatuwezi kukubali mtu mmoja kukataa kufanya kazi yake na kuingiza mambo mengi badala ya kufanya ile kazi ambayo katiba ya Kenya ilimpatia.
Another onslaught on Gachagua. Tana River Senator Dunstan Mugatana files a censure motion against the deputy president. Dons tear-gassed and arrested. Police confront university lecturers in Nairobi CBD as learning in public universities remain disrupted. Churches regulation uproar. A section of churches reject proposed church regulations law, terming it punitive. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. So the Senate probe into the Adani JKIA takeover deal turned chaotic as senators engaged in a bitter exchange of words with Treasury CS John Mbadi, who was appearing before the Transport Committee. Attempts by the committee chair Karungu Wathang'wa to restore order was met with hostility by the senators Richard Onyonka, Edwin Sifuna and Samson Cherargei, who walked out of the session in protest. Stephen Leto has more.
When the afternoon session began and Treasury CS John Mbadi took the witness seat to defend government over the controversial Adani JKIA takeover deal, tension was palpable.
People are being fired from work. Look at those workers. Go and see them when you're traveling.
Chair, point of order, Chair.
Can I have sad what we are doing to...
But it is Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka's new evidence that broke the camel's back. Onyonka tabled 3 companies that he claimed had written to the Kenya Airports Authority, also showing interest in the taking over JKIA, but were ignored, with KAA insisting that only Adani had showed interest and processed the private-initiated proposal to take over JKIA.
Did you receive a letter through you, Chair, from any other company other than Adani requesting to do this project?
The answer is no, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to table, I have 3 letters which were written by 2 different companies. Adani was the 3rd one.
First letter, I'm just giving...
CS is wasting our time.
Let him finish. You are equally also maybe wasting my time.
There's nothing we are discussing, John.
Please, let's respect each other.
Allow the CS to
If you ask
finish.
me a question, I've come here. This is a matter of national importance, for heaven's sake. Let us be
the reason why I am reacting to you the way I am is because you've not even seen the letter.
I have not come here.
And you're busy responding. Stop gatekeeping.
I've come here.
These things you can't gatekeep anymore. Stop gatekeeping.
And please,
we must deal with this issue nationally. It's a national important issue.
Supply information, wait for the information. If you don't need it, Kenyans need it.
Proceed.
Order, Senator Onyonka.
Kenyans need the information. And I'm giving to you.
Chair, Honorable CS, now now you are heckling. You are out of order.
You're equally heckling me.
This is the tradition of ODM to heckle.
You are out of order.
Chair, you can.
If the CS is tired of answering questions by the representatives of the people, let him tell us. Let him tell us. He can walk out and come back on a day that he feels his temperament is something that is befitting of a cabinet secretary of the Republic of Kenya. This is Parliament. We are not here to be nice to each other. You are saying you are giving answers to the public. Those public don't ask you those questions anymore. They ask us. We are the ones elected by the public. So, Honorable Chair, I think the CS must apologize for throwing a tantrum here. Yet we are here on serious business to be able to find answers to the questions of the public.
A back and forth between the senator and CS John Mbadi on the new revelations got the session literally on fire.
I mean, what is our brother? What has just happened to you? What are you saying? That they don't have to do that? That is exactly the crux of the matter of Adani. That is it, Bro John. If you don't see it, then we're wasting our time here.
So I'm also reporting to you, Honorable Nyong'o. You can have your opinion. My opinion is this. I'm under oath, and I'm stating as follows. The evaluation committee did check the World Bank sites and confirmed that that is the case.
Although Senator Onyonka told the Senate hearing that indeed their company's letters were received by KAA, Mbadi insisted that no letter was copied to Treasury showing any other company other than Adani.
Is it the position that Adani only operates in India?
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna cross-examination with CS Mbadi also degenerated into a personal exchange.
I respect Sifuna in matters law. He respects me on matters finance. The predicament we find ourselves in is we are dealing with a mongrel of both law and finance.
CS Mbadi getting agitated as senators pinned him down to reveal more on what his predecessor left on his desk on the Adani deal.
You know, being told by these people to go and sign documents that attend to the function.
That's the same way when the senators get agitated when you make wild allegations. Please.
They are not wild. We have the evidence. They can table affidavits in this committee. They are not wild. John Mbadi, I don't even have a child who works at the airport.
I also have the number.
Why your people being kicked out?
Senator Onyonka, calm down.
Chair, I don't.
As the session got more heated, committee chair and Kiambu Senator Karungu Adhangwa accused the members of his committee, particularly Senators Richard Onyonka, Edwin Sifuna and Samson Cherargei, of turning the hearing into a drama session.
This committee to get video and viral clips so that you can supply them all over. What I'm trying to say, no. Chairman,
we elected you to be our chair. We want videos. That's what you do. That's also what you do. Isn't that what you do? That's what you do when you're fighting Wamatangi.
I'm telling you.
Out of order.
We are not like you.
Senator
It's
Onyonka.
a national matter.
What
agreed to be raised
from that chair.
This even as Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna threatened the committee chair of hosting him from the chair.
Chair, you know it's impeachment season. Please don't joke around with us.
It doesn't matter. I will stick within the standing orders. I will stick within the standing orders. Let's have Senator Omtata.
The three senators walked out in protest, leaving the session behind, accusing the committee chair of gagging them and gatekeeping for the government. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
All right, away from that, at least 20 university lecturers and staff were arrested in Nairobi following demonstrations organized by University's Academic Staff Union and the Kenya University Staff Union. Police lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse dons and staff who wanted to present petitions to the National Assembly, the CS Education, and the National Treasury. The WASU and KUSU members who are demanding the implementation of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement vowed not to relent. Emily Chebet has more.
Hundreds of lecturers and staff from different public universities converged at the University of Nairobi's Graduation Square. Their plan was to present their petition to the National Assembly, the Ministry of Education and the Treasury on their 6th day of strike. The peaceful march was interrupted by police officers who lobbed tear gas canisters at the university dons and their staff immediately after leaving the Graduation Square. They were, however, undeterred as they engaged police in a cat-and-mouse chase until they got to the National Assembly.
We went to Parliament. Our petitions were received by the registry, and they have been stamped. The only petition that we are taking on Monday, the one for Ministry of Education
and the National Treasury.
The university lecturers have condemned the use of force by police, saying they had notified them of their peaceful march.
We are peaceful. We have done this kind of peaceful demonstrations before, and there was absolutely no reason as to why one would block us to do what is constitutionally allowed to be done. We followed the due process, we notified the police, and they chose to do what they think is the best thing to do, to scuttle a peaceful procession.
And the Kenyan police must style up. Their children, and some of them are students in these institutions. When you hurl tear gas at the lecturers, at the staff who are actually serving and teaching these students in those institutions, what kind of picture are you giving to your children? They must reason. We must tell the police to reason, use reason, don't use cow dung.
The university's academic staff union WASU and the Kenya University's staff union KUSU are demanding, among other issues, automatic salary increment of 4% annually, harmonization of retirement age at 74 years, comprehensive medical cover, and a full implementation of their 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement.
The reason why River Nile must reach Minister of Education, he is the one spreading lies that we have reached consensus. There is no consensus we have reached. So we want him to see this petition.
The WASU and KUSU members have vowed to continue with their strike until their grievances are addressed. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.
So the academic dons had a rather chaotic day today, attempting to present their petition to Parliament. Here are some of the lecturers' demands. They want an automatic salary increment of 4% annually, harmonization of retirement age to 74 years, comprehensive medical cover, and full implementation of their 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. The lecturers further say that basic salary has not been agreed on. They also want harmonization of allowances, car loan and mortgages, staff promotion, recruitment of 15,000 staff. The lecturers are also complaining of delays in remittance of pension, salary delays, and according to the dons, their greatest concern now is the failure to negotiate, conclude, register, and implement the 2021-2025 National CBA between WASU and the Interpublic Universities Council Consultative Forum, that is the IPUCCF, and failure to negotiate, conclude, and register and implement chapter collective agreement for 2013 to 2017, 2017 to 2021, and 2021 to 2025 cycles. It's that conversation that I want to have very quickly with the dons here in studio with me. Professor Kamau Ngamau is here, the VC Cooperative University and alternate spokesperson, IPUCCF JNC, and Dr. Maloba Wekesa, WASU Chapter Secretary, University of Nairobi. Dr. Charles Mukwaya, the Secretary General, Kenya Universities of Staff Union, that is KUSU, just sent in his apologies. He said that they're in a meeting right now with government to try and resolve this stalemate. Prof, are those demands reasonable?
Good evening, Trevor. I want to say that we have had negotiations with the unions and that the negotiations have been going on. There are quite a number of issues. There are a few areas which we had come into some agreement, but there are outstanding issues. And what we're saying is that the negotiations should be able to continue in order to be able to conclude this CBA.
Okay. So you want these negotiations to continue
Yes.
without the strike or concurrently with the strike?
Without the strike, as you are aware, the court has issued a restraining order, and therefore the strike is not protected.
All right. Dr. Maloba, are you in an illegal strike?
Yes, we are. I want first, thank you very much, Trevor, for having me. First things, let us just be clear about it. The truth in Kenya is a very expensive commodity to trade in. So when Professor says that we are in an unprotected strike. I want to reiterate to our members, this strike is fully protected. And we will go through that probably on a longer piece, then you can actually be able to hear me out. But then again, let me also talk about what Professor has said, that negotiations are going on. You simply have to ask yourself, why must we go into an industrial action every cycle? Why? Why is it that we are in this position nearly in every cycle, close to around 3-4 times? Why? And then the worst part about it is, why should people always keep saying negotiations are going on? These lecturers out there are paying an indefinite amount of opportunity cost lost because of this perfunctory nature by the individuals who are supposed to negotiate this CBA. And we completely object to the very fact that there's an infinite amount of time that needs to be negotiated for a CBA, which a proposal we submitted now well over 4 years ago. So if someone says we are negotiating, how long do you need to negotiate?
Okay.
How far do you need to actually follow the guidelines by SRC so that you can actually meet and implement on timely schedule, so that our members do not have to go through the suffering that they have to go through?
Okay, we'll get back into this discussion in just a bit, but for now, let's talk about something else. It's about politics here. Onslaught against the embattled Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua continues to mount, with the Tana River Senator Danson Mugatana filing a censure motion in the Senate to discuss the conduct of the Deputy President. Mugatana is accusing Gachagua of making public utterances that marginalizes sections of Kenyans and continue to heighten tension among different ethnic communities. Seth Olale with the latest political attack against the Deputy President.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's political woes were escalated by Tana River Senator Danson Mugatana, who filed a censure motion in the Senate to discuss the character of DP Rigathi. If approved, the censure motion will see senators giving opinions of disapproval against Gachagua, unlike an impeachment motion that seeks to remove the office bearer. According to the censure motion presented to the Speaker of the Senate, DP Gachagua has on several occasions since his assumption to the office of the Deputy President made utterances, among others, regarding employment opportunities to Kenyans in public service, allocation of resources to the devolved units, and incitement of a section of Kenyans to disobey lawful directives by some county governments.
Hii Kenya iko na shida na hatuwezi kukubali mtu mmoja kukataa kufanya kazi yake na kuingiza mambo mengi badala ya kufanya ile kazi ambayo katiba ya Kenya ilimpatia.
According to the censure motion presented by the Tana River Legislature, the public utterances made by Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of Kenya, have marginalized sections of Kenyans, created and continues to heighten tension among different ethnic communities in Kenya, and are against the national values.
Mimi mnanijua msimamo yangu ya kwamba watoto wakiwa wengi kuna wale kwanza ya kuangaliwa, si mnajua?
Je, hivi tunavyoendelea ni sawa? Makamu wa rais wa Kenya wanafaa wafanye hivi, kwamba ukitoka sehemu ya pwani basi wewe ni kupigania pwani peke yake.
Deputy Speaker Gladys Boss-Sholei and Kotu Boss Francis Atwoli joining forces against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, with the latter saying that DP Gachagua should be arrested and jailed for undermining the president.
If it were Kanu government, me am Kanu, we would have arrested him in the morning. And taken him to where at one time Amina was taken to. You can't be contradicting government policies, contradicting your own president.
Mimi mwenyewe nitakupeleka nyumbani. I am putting you Rigathi Gachagua on notice. You are going to be impeached. I can confirm that to you today, and I shall be in charge of that impeachment myself.
The latest political onslaught against DP Gachagua coming after he openly implicated President William Ruto as being involved in the wars facing him. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Even then, Kenyans from across the country are calling on the political class to tone down political bickering and instead deliver on their promises. Kenyans were, however, divided over the planned impeachment against the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua.
Sasa tunashindwa na hii ndoa ya rais na naibu wake. Wakati walikuwa campaign, walituahidi wanatufanyia maendeleo. Lakini tunashangaa saa hii ndoa yao imeisha. Sijui mara Mount Kenya, mara Rift Valley, mara sijui impeachment, na wakati waliomba kura hatukusikia ndoa yao ya WhatsApp kuondolewa ama kuingia WhatsApp.
Wakati President alikuwa pamoja na Gachagua, mulikuwa mmefanya ndoa pamoja. Sasa ikawaje sasa hii ndoa sasa imekatika? Ni nini sasa hasa imefanya mtengane?
Tuseme tu ukweli, hapa Kenya kuwa kama we ni deputy ya mtu fulani, jiweke tayari kwa mashida kadhaa. Sababu sio imeanza hivi juzi. Tukianzia hata rais wetu akiwa deputy alisumbuliwa.
Tumehuzunishwa sana na vita ambao viko katika mlimani Mount Kenya ya kusema ya kwamba kuna vita between the president and the deputy president. Tunaambia wajumbe ambao tulichagua, tafadhali mkitayarisha haya mambo mnafanya impeachment, ati mnataka kuimpeach deputy president. Tunawaambia kama wananchi ya kwamba hata nyinyi tunawangojea ground.
Wafanye vile wanafanya tunawaona, tunawangojea ground. Lakini tunasema Rigathi wa Gachagua tuko naye leo na kesho kutwa. Baka mwisho hatuachi Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi wa Gachagua tumemshikilia na mikono miwili.
President wetu na deputy wake walitafuta kura pamoja. Kwa hivyo hakuna haja ya kupigana, wangefanya kazi pamoja ndio tuendeleshe nchi.
Now, President William Ruto has renewed his push for reforms at the United Nations in order to tackle the changing global challenges. Now, during his presentation at the United Nations General Assembly Summit in New York, Ruto criticized the multilateral system for failing to address global climate crisis, inequalities and debt crisis. Francis Ode with the details.
President Ruto used the global event to remind the developed nations of their failure in tackling global challenges, including provision of basic services to millions of people displaced. Dr. Ruto emphasized the urgent need for immediate action to address the unprecedented global crisis posed by advanced stages of climate change. He warned that without immediate action, humanity faces an unprecedented global crisis.
Today, we have no choice but to reject outdated systems and reimagine a framework of international cooperation that works for all 8 million of us in the planet. This means redesigning international financial system, strengthening partnership for common security, bridging the digital divide, and investing in human capacity, especially empowering women and youth. The window to achieve this is, however, fast closing.
The president pointed out that only 17% of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) are on track, primarily due to unmet financial commitments. He highlighted the severe funding shortages faced by developing countries, particularly in Africa and the Global South, and called for immediate action to bridge this gap.
At the 2023 UN SDG Summit, we highlighted the urgent need to overhaul the global financial system. As we approach the fourth Financing for Development Forum in 2025, imaginative solutions for debt relief and development financing are essential to close the SDG gap.
President Ruto also addressed the historical injustice of Africa's lack of permanent representation on the UN Security Council, calling for this to be rectified as part of the ongoing UN reforms.
Yesterday, I was in Port-au-Prince to witness the significant progress made by Kenya's Africa-led mission, even with the constraints of limited resources. What looked like mission impossible is now a present and real possibility for peace in Haiti.
In a bid to combat climate change, President Ruto announced Kenya's ambitious plan to increase its forest cover by 30% by planting 15 billion trees, an initiative largely driven by the youth.
Sustainably funded by the UN-assessed contributions are critical in addressing...
Ode Francis, Citizen TV.
Now, opposition to the proposed church regulations law continues to grow, with more religious groups expressing their rejection. Pentecostal and evangelical bishops termed the bill seeking to regulate churches as punitive. Miriam Nyambura has more.
The Religious Organizations Bill 2024, proposed by Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana, has sparked uproar among religious groups in the country. In Nairobi, religious leaders under the Pentecostal Association have rejected the proposed law in its entirety.
We don't want the bill to be amended. We want the bill to be dropped, completely dropped. And we demand the church should be respected. Sio tafadhali, the church must be respected.
The contentious clauses in the bill, according to the religious leaders, include proposals for churches to pay taxes. In the bill, quote, income, gifts, or profits generated from any lawful activity undertaken by religious organizations shall not be exempt from taxation unless the entirety of those proceeds are applied towards charitable causes, a proposal which has raised concerns among the clergy.
We consider that this bill is punitive and retrogressive, for it will impact negatively on the good work that the religious organizations have done in this country over the years.
Churches are non-profit making organizations, and therefore this cannot be an exceptional country whereby the church is being crippled from underneath, slowly killing the church slowly. That's what we can see in this bill.
The religious leaders also opposed clauses that proposed that, quote, a person who contravenes the law commits an offence and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or to both. Another bone of contention being the proposal to develop a theological training curricula and a code of conduct for religious leaders. According to Mungatana, the Religious Organizations Bill 2024 was drafted to curb extremism or predatory religious organizations that have seemingly cropped up as there is little regulation around religious organizations. Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
All right, on that note, let's take a quick break on Monday Report. We're back with much more in just a bit. Don't go too far. Time for some business news now. And the recent strike by the Kenya airport workers caused the Kenya Airways losses of up to 80 million shillings in terms of time, rebooking, and compensation. This was revealed by the airline CEO Alan Kilavuka during the opening of their Santi Executive Hub at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, that's KICC. The hub will cater for the travel needs of government officials and other elites as it seeks to double its share of government travel revenue from the current 40%. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
The recent disruption at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport following the Kenya aviation workers' strike to protest the proposed takeover by Indian-based Adani Group has left the national carrier Kenya Airways counting losses. According to the Kenya Airways CEO, the one-day strike saw the airline lose upwards of 80 million shillings in revenue and additional expenses.
For this strike that happened the other time, if you look at the cost of time, the cost of rebooking, the cost of paying compensation, and so on and so forth, it is significant. In fact, the estimate we estimate about 80 million, at least 80 million shillings in terms of cost for that one-day disruption.
Nevertheless, the airline continues to make investment to increase their share of government business from the current 40%. Speaking during the launch of their Santi Executive Hub, a government-aided one-stop shop that aims to cater to all the travel needs of government officials at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KQ CEO Alan Kilavuka pointed out the need for the airline to increase its efficiency and tap into the meeting, incentive, conference and exhibition clientele, as well as international dignitaries.
Government travel on us about 40% or so of the time. Okay, so we have about 40% of government expenditure. Now, what we are saying is that we want to make it easy for government to travel with us. That's why we are launching the Asante Executive Hub.
KQ has also been asked to improve its product offering, efficiency and reliability.
And what KQ should do is to avoid small weaknesses here and there that give people excuses to go elsewhere. This is your market. Work on it. Be aggressive. You are not as aggressive as it should be towards harnessing this government market. KQ is the preferred, but you should not become a spoiled brat.
The location of the hub is in partnership with the KICC as part of the efforts towards enhancing Kenya's visibility and competitiveness as a global MICE destination to promote Kenya's vast potential in hosting world-class events and boost the economy by attracting more international conferences.
While leading MICE destinations work closely with the international carriers, hotels and other stakeholders in bidding for major international conferences, we therefore continue to recognize the need to bring our special competencies and skills to contribute to the achievement of our common objectives between KICC and KQ.
Now, the government's appetite for domestic and international travel presents yet an opportunity for the national carrier. That's why the launch of the Asante Executive Hub is meant to address taking advantage of this huge appetite by government officials. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, government agencies and parastatals with poor performance records will now face sanctions. This is according to the Deputy Chief of Staff Performance and Delivery Management, Eliud Owalo, who emphasized that the move is essential for enhancing accountability across all government institutions. He made these remarks during the ratification of the Ministry of Agriculture's performance contract, during which it was noted that one of the key achievements has been the reduction of fertilizer prices over the past 2 years. Dennis Otieno has more.
In an effort to keep government officials on their toes and improve accountability, the government has issued a stern warning to underperforming agencies.
If any ministry or parastatal or government department or agencies is performing, then that entity stands the chance of enhancement in budgetary allocation. Any ministry, department or parastatal that is not performing will also face sanction, including but not limited to reduction in budgetary allocation.
Owalo's office is responsible for consolidating performance contracts and monitoring efficiency across all ministries, departments and projects under the government's bottom-up agenda.
We are not going to have routine performance management in the public service. Performance management, the rationale is to ensure that we move to an era of results-based management in the public service so that the Kenyan public can get benefits by way of service delivery.
During the ratification of the Ministry of Agriculture's performance contract, several notable achievements were highlighted. Among them is the success of the fertilizer subsidy program, which led to a 66% reduction in prices, bringing the cost of a bag of fertilizer down to 2,500 shillings over the past 2 years. Another win for farmers was the removal of VAT on tea purchased from local factories for value addition, boosting earnings by 11.8% from 59 shillings in 2022 to 66 shillings in 2024. In the dairy sector, the government increased the guaranteed minimum price for milk from 37 shillings in 2022 to 50 shillings per litre in 2024, representing a 35% increase. Moving forward, the Ministry of Agriculture plans to collaborate closely with counties as agriculture remains a devolved function.
As a ministry, there is another big section, the 46 counties which are there. We need to work with them. We will also be putting in place to strengthen our intergovernmental relations with the counties. Because without counties, we will not be able to deliver agriculture. And that should be a message very clear.
The ratification process will continue across other ministries and agencies over the next 3 weeks. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
So Kenya's e-mobility is projected to grow by 5% by 2030 as the country is gradually embracing electric vehicles. According to the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's EPRA, the number of EVs registered in Kenya increased by more than 5 times in 2023. With the government now encouraging e-mobility, local innovators are now coming up with products targeting this particular sector. One such innovation is the Ecomobilas, a venture building electric tuk-tuks and motorcycles. Edward Chwer tells us more.
With the number of electric vehicles on Kenyan roads growing annually, the challenge for owners has been how to maintain and service the electric batteries. This is what pushed Professor Geoffrey Gitau to start making electric batteries targeting the e-mobility sector.
When the battery starts developing issues, people do not know what to do. So we were able to start making the initial batteries from cells collected from local sources, and one of the local sources was to use batteries that are recovered from laptops and so forth.
With that, Gitau and his team embarked on more research and came up with the idea of converting fuel-powered vehicles into electric.
Our focus is on light electric vehicles, bicycles, motorcycles, tuk-tuks, both for passenger and cargo. Most of those bodabodas are not customized for our environment. Our users here, they carry heavy roads, they go long distances, they drive in up-hill terrains and all that. We also do conversion. Perhaps you have your own motorcycle that you are using before, and now you don't have capacity to buy the new electric. We are able to make it become electric also at a very cost-effective price of about 100,000.
So, how does the conversion work?
Electric mobility works by 3 things. There's what we call the battery. It stores the energy. It's like the petrol tank in a car. And then we have the motor. It turns the wheel. It's like the engine. And then we have the controller. It's now like the accelerator. So we arrange the cells, and then we are able to spot weld them, connect them in a way that we can form a stack. For vehicles, we lay them on the floor so that the center of gravity can be as low as possible.
Ecomobilas is now embracing solar technology to add at least 30% of power to the electric vehicles.
With solarization, that means that tuk-tuk, apart from using the charge that it got from the grid power, it will also be able to give another 30% more mileage by using of solar. We are targeting the big masses of users who require transportation for their last mile.
Gitau says, so far, they have received several orders from border operators looking to convert their motorcycles into electric, and he is now setting up a charging station along the eastern bypass to enable charging of the batteries.
We are not only looking at charging them, but we are also trying to create mini grids. So we can be able, charging is a very key infrastructure for this sustainability. So because of that, so we are able to size mini grids whereby we can be able to provide charging stations, and not only that, but also energy.
We have got quite a number of orders that we've been able to fulfill so far, where we have been able to convert them and they are already using them out there. We have also gotten orders for clean assembly from the scratch. That means somebody wants us to build for them an EV. We are in the process of completing our electric mkokoteni that we're going to call e-Coco.
Working with research institutions such as Murang'a University, Ecomobilas is now helping develop a curriculum for e-mobility to be taught in institutions, and the venture looks forward to fully making electric vehicles from scratch.
We are developing a curriculum for that, which we're inviting young people who have perhaps completed a technical course on anything to do with the mechanical, electrical, electronics, whatever. We want them to come now and do a module which is purely on e-mobility. We believe that we're going to now and do a module which is purely on e-mobility. We believe that we're going to become, here in Kenya, we are going to become the Tesla. Because we believe in developing localized homegrown.
Opening up its doors to electric mobility as an alternative to fossil fuels. This has encouraged innovators like Ecomobilas to come up with climate-friendly innovations like this tuk-tuk here. The hope is that someday the country will fully embrace electric mobility. Edward Chwer, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.